you're the co-founder of, just like we've been talking about, Axion Systems.
Yeah.
It's would you say, a space propulsion company,
Yes.
broadly speaking? So how do you, big question, how do you build a rocket company from like a propulsion company from one person, from 2 people to 10 people plus, and actually, take it to a successful product?
Yeah. Well, I think the early stage is quite, I'm not supposed to use the word easy when you work in rocket science, but straightforward. When you're working on something, sexy like an ion engine, it's more straightforward to raise money and get people to come work for you because the vision's really exciting. And actually, that's something I would say is very important throughout, is a really exciting vision, because when everything, goes to crap, you need that to get people getting themselves out of bed in the morning and thinking of the higher purpose there. And another thing along the way that I think is key in building any company is the right early employees that also have their own networks and can bring in a lot of people that really make the whole greater than just the sum of the early team.
And how do you build that? Like, how do you find people? It's like asking, how do you make friends? But is it luck? Is there a system? Like, how, in terms of the people you've connected with, the people you built the company with, is there some thread, some commonality, some pattern that you find it to hold for what makes a great team?
I think, personally, a thread for me has been my network and being able to draw on that a lot, but also giving back to it as much as possible in like an unsolicited sort of way, like making connections between people that, maybe didn't ask, but that I think could be really fruitful. And even, weirder than that is just really getting, having weird, uncomfortable conversations with people like at a conference, and getting over the small talk quickly and getting to know them quickly and having a relationship that stands out, and then being able to call on them later because of that. And I think that's been because I'm introverted and I, want to poke my eyes out instead of go and do small talk. And so I huddle in a corner with one person and, we talk about aliens or things like that. And so, that's all to say that, having a strong network, I think, is really important, but a genuine one. And let's see, other ways to build a rocket company, kind of making sure you're paying attention to the sweeping trends of the industry. So everybody just cares about cost, and being able to get out ahead of that, and even more than we ever thought we'd need to, as far as what we needed to price our systems at. People since the start of the U.S. space industry, they've been paying 25 million in adjusted dollars for an ion engine, and seeing that now people are going to want to pay $10K for an ion engine, and just staying out ahead of that and those kinds of things. So, being out in the industry and talking to as many people as possible.
So there's a drive. I mean, I suppose SpaceX really pushed that.
Frustrating for me.
Yeah. So SpaceX really pushed this. The application of, I guess, capitalism, of driving the price down, of basically forcing people to ask the question, can this be done cheaper? This can lead to like big problems, I would say, in the following sense. I see this in the car industry, for example, that people have, it's such a small margin for profit. Like, they've driven the cost of everything down so much that there's literally no room for innovation, for taking risks. So like cars, which is funny because not until Tesla really which is one of the, in a long, long time, one of the first successful new car companies that's constantly innovating. Every other car company is really boring in terms of their technological innovation. They innovate on design and style
Right.
and so on. That people fall in love with the look and so on, but it's not really innovation. In terms of the technology in it, it's really boringly the same thing, and they're really afraid of taking risks. And that's a big problem for rocket space too. Is like, if you're cutting on costs, you can't afford to innovate, to try out new things, and then
Yeah, exactly.
that's definitely true with ion engines, then, right? So how do you compete in this space? Do you, by the way, see SpaceX as a competitor? And what do you say in general about the competition in this space? Is it really difficult as a business to compete here?
No, I don't see SpaceX as a competitor, and I see them as one day, not too long from now, a customer,
A
hopefully.
customer.
I mean, to compete against that, I think you just have to do things in an unconventional way. So bringing silicon MEMS manufacturing to propulsion. NASA doesn't make ion engines using a batch mass producible technique. They have, one guy that's been making their ion engines for 20 years, like bespoke pieces of jewelry. So bringing things to what you're trying to innovate to make them, in our case, more cost effective was really key.
I like the idea of somebody putting out ion engines on like Etsy.
Yeah, my advisor at MIT would, the thruster tip I was holding up, he would wear one as a lapel pin.